Have you ever looked in the mirror and wondered why you're not being treated the way you deserve? Why you give so much but feel invisible in return? It's not that you're weak. It's not that you're broken. It might just be that you've forgotten your worth. These 7 signs are for the ones who give, bend, wait and shrink, quietly hoping to feel seen. If you feel this in your chest, you're not alone. Let's walk through this and find your power again. You send a message and then reread it 6 times. You explain why you didn't respond right away. You say, "Sorry I bothered you," even when all you did was ask a question. Over-explaining is the emotional scar of being taught that your presence needs justification. It's the behavior of someone who doesn't believe they're enough as they are. Let me tell you about Emily. She would panic if she didn't respond to a text within minutes. Not because she was rude, but because she was terrified someone would think she didn't care. She once spent 30 minutes writing a message that could have taken 10 seconds. Emily didn't lack love. She lacked permission to take up space. And that's the lesson. You don't need to be perfect or polished to be worthy of understanding. You deserve to speak without fear, to communicate without guilt. The world won't fall apart if you pause, and you won't lose people who truly value your presence. You say sorry when someone bumps into you. You say sorry for crying, sorry for asking, sorry for just being tired. This isn't politeness. It's a deep fear that your needs aren't valid, that who you are is too much, too inconvenient. There's a man I know named Thomas. He grew up in a home where emotions were shut down, so when he cried at work once, he kept apologizing to his manager. But all he did was feel. Thomas had never been told this before. You don't owe anyone an apology for being human, and neither do you. Your emotions aren't something to hide. When you honor what you feel without apology, you send a signal to yourself that you matter. And slowly the world begins to reflect that truth back to you. You call it loyalty, you call it patience. But in your heart, you know, you're accepting less than you deserve. You get excited when someone gives you just enough, a reply, a compliment, a bit of attention. I once heard from a woman named Sophie. She was in a situationship for 2 years, never introduced to his friends, never called his girlfriend. But every time he texted, she'd light up, because a little attention felt better than none. But here's the truth. When you know your worth, barely enough becomes unacceptable. Sophie didn't need more patience. She needed a reminder that her time, love and energy were precious. The moment she stopped negotiating with neglect, she made space for someone who didn't need to be convinced of her value. You say yes when you're tired. You say yes when you're uncomfortable. You say yes when everything in you is screaming no. Why? Because you've tied your value to being liked. There was a guy named Ahmad who never said no. He was the dependable one. But inside, he was burning out. People didn't love Ahmad. They loved what he did for them. And that's the difference. Your worth isn't measured by your availability. It's measured by your boundaries. When Ahmad finally started saying no, he discovered something unexpected. Not everyone left. Some people respected him more, and the ones who didn't, they were never really with him to begin with. You're up when they clap, you're crushed when they go silent, and one comment can ruin your whole mood. That's not confidence, that's dependence. You were never meant to live off validation. You were meant to stand in your own light, whether they applaud or not. I remember Olivia. She posted poetry online. One mean comment made her delete everything. But it wasn't about that stranger. It was about the belief she held that her value depended on approval. So Olivia started writing just for herself. And something amazing happened. When she stopped chasing praise, she found her voice, and the praise followed naturally. That's the paradox of worth. When you no longer need proof, it starts showing up everywhere. You believe in potential, you believe in giving second chances, you believe in staying, even when they stop trying. But loyalty without self-respect is self-destruction. Amelia stayed with someone who made her feel invisible because she loved him. But love should never require you to erase yourself. If someone's presence costs you your peace, their absence will give it back. Amelia's turning point came when she looked in the mirror and couldn't recognize herself. She wasn't leaving him. She was returning to her. Sometimes walking away isn't a sign of giving up. It's a declaration that your soul has been quiet for too long. You hope they text first. You hope someone sees you. You wait to be invited, noticed, picked. But every day you wait for someone to choose you. You're abandoning the most important person in your life, you. Stop asking the world to see your light. Start being the one who protects it. There's power in choosing yourself, in not waiting, in becoming the kind of person you once hoped someone else would notice. You don't need to be discovered. You need to be remembered. Bye. If this message touched something in you, I'd love for you to subscribe to this space. This is where we talk about real things, quietly, honestly, and without pressure. Tell me in the comments, which of these signs hit home for you? You're not alone anymore.